Carbon farming, like we are meaning now, and in particular related to the carbon sequestration issue, is relatively new, I think.
I really like what you said about joining the forces and trying to get the knowledge from other.
I think that there is not a quite wide awareness about carbon farming with the meaning of carbon sequestration. Soil quality is increasing the importance respect to what was maybe in the past years. Our mission is to support our members.
Welcome to our Carbon Farming Odyssey, a journey across uncharted territories where soil is not just earth, but a living asset. Together, we set sail across the vast ocean of sustainable agriculture, mapping new value chains and covering hidden opportunities, cooperating and cultivating the future of farming.
So in today's episode, we welcome Maria Grazia Tommasini, who is an experienced manager of a cooperative and also a true explorer of the agricultural frontier in Italy, supporting many of the actors. And I am very happy, Maria, that I can talk with you, that we can just spend some together on talking about how to support the farmers. And firstly, I would like to hear from you, how do you position yourself in like a business life, and what are in general your daily involvement supporting farmers via cooperative?
Thank you, Piotr. I'm glad to be here with you. And well, just to answer to your questions, I am the head of a group inside the company related that are working and dealing with integrated and organic production. That is a general frame within which we are taking care of research, innovative experience, projects, operational groups, and different kind of activities, also related to the knowledge transfer to our stakeholders, which are farmer advisors, all the, let's say, agronomical sectors in our region. And the activities we develop are related, as I said, on integrated and organic production that include plant protection first, but also all what is around the crops in integrated and organic production. So nutrition and soil. Soil is taking even more importance in the recent times, and with that, of course, also carbon farming issue. Our cooperatives is a small company, but it's representing a quite large sector of agronomical activities and agricultural land use in our region, because we have roughly 45-50 members in our cooperatives, but each of them are mostly farmer organizations or farmers associations. So it means that they represent a huge amount of farmers themselves. For this reason, we can say that we collect in a way the representatives of almost 60% of the land use in Emilia-Romagna region. And some of our members are also involving farmers all around Italy, so not only in our region. So it's quite important representatives of the agriculture, let's say.
It is impressive hearing that if we multiply 45 association by the members, then we come with the number that covers 60% of the territory. So I can say that you have a very huge impact you can possibly have. I mean, because of course it's not always that if we have a connection with the people, we can influence on them and change the mind. But of course there is is an option and opportunity to be close to them. And I would like to ask you, because also we are in our project, also we are around our project, which is a carbon farming CE supported by the Interreg Central Europe. We are introducing some of the practices, we are testing the practices which support the carbon sequestration. And I would like to ask you if it's in your association a new topic, or in general it's kind of something which is introduced for the last few years, or you have been in contact with these practices for a long time. Maybe you can also describe which of the practices are popular in your region, because we know, as I remember, you always say about the pedoclimatic zones, and we know that, for example, Poland is much different to Italy. So
sure.
Yeah, if you can share with me now your experience on that.
Well, carbon farming, like we are meaning now, and in particular related to the carbon sequestration issue, is a relatively new items. Very new, I would say. But what we know as best practices to apply carbon farming, some of them are not new at all in our context, at least, because we were working on that for some of them for quite a long time ago. Just to mention one, rotation, that is the basic of integrated production. So we started with these items, I think, almost 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. So even before the European directive on sustainable agriculture and on the sustainable use of pesticides, for example. But besides this, other practices like the use of green manure, for example, or the additional of organic matters like compost, or before compost there was maybe manure, let's say, was something on which we already worked since a long time ago, I would say. But many of these practices, including cover crops, parsley, are becoming more and more important in the recent years due to the fact that we know everybody the scenario of the new Green Deal, the new farm-to-fork strategies, and so on, the reduction of the use of inputs, the reduction of pesticides, herbicides, and so on. So any alternatives that could be used to allow farmers or growers to reach their yield and the production was a subject of interest, of course, for the Association of Farmers, firstly, and not consequently, but even before of our job. So to find alternatives, to find solution, to bring a new possible way to reach the goal to maintain competitiveness in agriculture.
Okay, so you also said that in your association, in your organization, you support integrated production and also organic production. And my question is now, based on your observation, of course, and experience, if the carbon farming techniques can support both type of the production, or maybe in some of can be more dominant, if it's possible also to apply the practices in organic farming. Is there any difference between different way of producing? I mean, if it's possible to somehow exploit them or introduce the practices in both type of production. Also, why the farmers choose integrated production and organic production in the condition of Italy? Why? Maybe it's a general question, but I mean, of course, you have a knowledge. What are the reasons of a specific production? Yeah?
Well, everybody knows the differences between organic and integrated production, of course, or at least I think so. Organic production is a very important sector of agriculture, is something that is supported and forced by the government's local, national, European policy. But organic production cannot be everywhere, cannot be applied for any condition, for any kind of crops in any places, because it's very difficult. It requires some very suitable condition to be applied, and according to the pedoclimatic places, situation, and so on, can be applied or not. Because we know that we cannot reach any production if there are some disease, pests, or what else that cannot be in a way contrasted by some natural systems or by some ecological activities, practices, or so on. So there is sometimes a little bit of confusion. Why don't increase the organic production? Because it's not really possible to do some organic production in some places. Besides this point, related to your questions, I think that organic producers are more habits to apply some best practices that are typically within the carbon farming frame, like the use of green manure, because it's a way to improve the fertilizations of the soil, of course, as alternative to manure that is only possible where some livestock are available, are present in the territory. But also the use of some covers is another way that is another practice, let's say, that organic producers are more used to apply. But these practices can be also applied in integrated production. We have just to understand, we have just to know where is possible to do it, for what kind of crops is possible to use green manure or cover crops, for example, or for another best practice that could be no tillage or minimum tillage. Well, that is possible for arable crops, but is absolutely out from any possibility for vegetable crops, for examples, because is agronomically not really suitable to reach a good production.
This is what I would like to extend, also asking you, what are the dominant crops in your region, and also what kind of livestock system exists in Emilia-Romagna, and in general, how, because you are operating in some of the area, and you know that, for example, this association, different type of the association support some specific plant production. So maybe you can just briefly, add this context of, what kind of crops do we, we produce, and also if they are somehow, sold locally, or maybe they are, exported to other countries. Yeah.
Well, in our region, our region is a quite intensive agriculture area. We are located in the northern part of Italy and in the Po Valley. So it's a very, very agriculture typically condition. And in detail, I can say that a very wide kind of crops are cultivated in Emilia-Romagna and in the surrounding area, from vineyards, of course, as all around Italy. But besides this, we have a quite important fruit production. And with fruit production, I mean from kiwi, pear. We are leader in the pear production in Italy, but also apple, peaches, nectarines, and apricot, cherries.
So horticulture is very important, yeah?
Horticulture, I think that is in general important everywhere in Italy.
Okay.
And within horticulture, we talk about fruit crops, vegetable crops, and for vegetables, we talk about mostly open field vegetables. There is also some protected cultivation of vegetable, but is not so wide extended. And besides this, of course, there are all the world of arboles, from potato to maize to soybeans, beet and wheat, of course, and so on.
High variety of many of the crops. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I think that apart from citrus, you can find everything in Emilia-Romagna.
Okay, so now I'd like to ask you about, we can say that Emilia-Romagna, are there any regional climate condition or soil type that make carbon farming particularly relevant? That I mean that you need exactly this concept, and the practice can support, for example, the climate change, which you for sure face in some of the areas. Yeah.
Yeah, climate change is really a challenge for everybody, I think, around the world and in our region as well. We have a very varied condition for the pedological point of view. So we have different kind of soil. We go from the sandy soil closer to the coast, to the near the beach, near the sea, to the very clay, to a mixed clay, lime, and sandy soil. So there is a very wide variety. I think we have at the regional level, the local government organized since a long time ago a very nice map of the soils that are present in our region, and there are very different kind of soils, even just close one to each other. In the same farm, you can have 3 different kind of soil. It can happen. That could be an issue, because also the kind of soil could be more or less suitable for some best practices application. You know very well. And related to the climatic condition, we are as I said, in a Po Valley that could be considered in a way, for some reference at the EU level, a kind of continental climate.
In general, yeah.
But it's something that can be not so strictly defined, I would say.
Okay, so when we talk about the motivation, your motivation as organization, because I can understand, and also every organization has some strategy, and also every organization which support others set up some objectives and problems, difficulties. And what was your motivation of exploring the carbon farming concept? And I mean, was it a kind of like, EU policy regulations, or maybe some kind of, fashion for exploring of this concept? Why did you want to be part of the projects, for example, where you can cooperate with different partners from different countries? If you can just, say a few words about what was your...
Well, I can tell you that our mission is to support our members, and through them the farmers of our region and our territory. This means that we have to work in advance to find a solution, to find a way, to find a possibility to manage the growing systems of our area for the different kind of crops in the different condition, to face in front of the challenges that they have to deal with. And that can be climate changing on one side, regulation, policy objectives on the others, market on the other again, because we have to consider what is requiring, what kind of products the market is requiring, what kind of quality or sustainability has to be. So all these things means that we have to try to look for possible action that can help farmers to achieve a solution, to achieve the goal at the end. And to work together other partners, even in other countries or in other regions. We think that the teamwork is always more successful than to work alone, and to share experience can enhance the possibility to reach one solution faster, instead of to work alone and to maybe repeat the same activities more times instead of to share with somebody else who has a similar condition as our.
I really like what you said about joining the forces and trying to get the knowledge from other partners, and also share, not to be alone in this all of these challenges. I think it's very useful, and it's one of the very important message from our discussion. But also, what I'm thinking about is we talk a lot about the raising the awareness of farmers, and also what is their perspective and the perception of the carbon farming, because sometimes when we discuss in Poland about the carbon farming with farmers, the sequestration for them is something which is not visible. I mean, it's not easy to persuade somebody that we are living in a big planet, and we have to rescue the planet, somehow adapt and mitigate the climate change. When we talk about the soil quality, for example, because it's important for the yield production, it's much more easier to visualize that concept. And I would like to ask you now, based on your experience and also discussion with the farmers, what is their perception about the carbon sequestration in general, also how they understand the carbon farming, and yeah.
I think that there is not a quite wide awareness about carbon farming with the meaning of carbon sequestration. I mean, it's quite a faraway concept for farmer in general, apart from few cases, let's say. What is more probably extended as awareness is what you said, soil quality. So even if it's a well-known concept for all organic producers, let's say, or at least for the used organic producers, for the larger amount of farmers is a new concept, even this one, but that is growing up. Mm-hmm. Because, as I said you before, with the reduction of a lot of tools that they can apply for their growing systems, the plant resilience is becoming one imperative goal that they want to reach, because the lack of plant protection products on one side, the necessity to reduce the cost, so to reduce any kind of new inputs to the farmer to maintain a balance for their income and the yield, to reach the good yield at the end anyway. The plant resilience is becoming more and more important for all farmers in general. And starting from this point, from this, let's say, final aim of their activities, soil quality is increasing the importance respect to what was maybe in the past years. Mm-hmm. So with this, also some good practices that are linked to carbon farming are taking some interest also in a larger number of farmers, but still also in Italy is not so wide.
Okay.
So the awareness must be improved a lot.
Yes, you talked about the about the plants, about growing them. I mean, without having the opportunity to grow the plants, I mean, we'll not have a production. So in this also area, very important is the access to the water. For example, irrigation, because this is also kind of a climate change effect, that we have the same amount of the precipitation, but the precipitation is in a higher volume, and in the one moment, this is what we face, for example, in Poland. And I would like to ask you, how do you face the issue of the water, if in your region, if there is any problem with water access, or it could be also some challenge in the future, and you think how to, for example, adapt to the climate change, implementing, for example, a new variety of crops which, for example, needs less water. Yeah? How do you fix the issue of the water in your region?
Well, water is a big issue that we deal with since a long time ago. And with climate changing, it become even more important year per year. As you said, in Poland, this extreme event of drought, and at the same time of a huge amount of water in a short time. We have just experienced in the last few years of floating in a very large amount of our region. So we know perfectly and very well this issue. However, there are different ways that are perceived by several kind of experimental activity, research activity with which we collaborate on. Breedings is one of this for sure, but also the new technology are another way to manage with these aspects. So how to manage irrigation systems to reduce the amount of water distributed, but to reach better the root of the plants, for example. The timing of irrigation, the amount of water needed for each kind of crops and each kind of variety and so on. What kind of tools could help to do it, and in this direction also the new technological systems like the study of the images or any other things are also something we work with to help, of course, the irrigations in the different crops. So there are not only one route that can be followed, but there are many arriving to the opposite, how to conserve water. Because that could be another point, how to get the water, how to conserve the water when you have a lot, and that probably is an even bigger issue.
Yes, exactly.
That we have to deal with.
Exactly. I think that there is a really, it's not only my opinion, but it comes from the studies and the reports and experience, as you said, that there is a strong connection between the water resources and the soil, and without having a water resource available in some extent, it's not possible to produce, and then there is some limit that we cannot cross by supporting the farmers. And I think that the cooperative is a great platform that you can share a lot of good practices. For example, you can make some field demonstrations to the farmers, and you have a kind of a big database that you can use this database to find when you have some challenge, to find a solution. So I'm just trying to, because you have a big tradition in Italy of a cooperative, and I would like to ask you, how do you work within the cooperative in terms that you introduce some good practices, you share the information between the associations and the farmers? Can you just say a few words about that?
Yes. Well, starting from the point that we want to find solution for the use in applied condition, and not just to make research itself. We have, I can say, a common dialogue with our members or representatives of our members, of course, both on the technical point of view and on the management point of view. One important aspect is to involve them as much as possible in some of the activity we are carrying on. And for this, one tool, for example, that are operational groups on which we are very well involved with for quite a long time, and with a relatively high amount of them. The farmer association, cooperatives, organization we are working with are following us regularly. But for the knowledge transfer of the experimentation, research, and so on, apart from meetings, apart from to let them know what are the results achieved by the different experience carried on by ourselves, by the university with which we collaborate strongly, and so on, we find that one way to be very, very clear in the transfer is also the demonstration. So to show them during one experimental in the field what are the results. And I think that the images, as not me, but some more famous than me and more clever than me said, one images can pay more than many words.
Yeah, exactly. So coming to the carbon farming practices and also some elements like, the business model, cooperation models, or for example, monitoring, I know that you strongly cooperate with the research and innovation entities like University of Bologna. For example, yeah. So maybe my first question is now, what are your partners exactly? What is your network of the partnership within the organization? But also how you in the cooperative mainstream the information of good the practices which are related to the carbon farming. So just to remind two questions. First one is about your network of partnership. Who do you collaborate with in Italy, and who do you think that are important partners? And the second question, which is interesting, also coming from that, how do you mainstream the carbon farming important messages to your associations?
Well, our network is quite wide because we start from one principle, apart from our members, of course, so producers, farmers, growers, that are the basic one. But the other figures, let's say, or structure we collaborate with are anyone that can help us to bring one result. So according to the expertise that we are looking for to develop one activity or so on, we are able and, let's say, open to collaborate with. So, of course, Bologna University is one of the closer one to us, and we collaborate a lot with them, but is not the only one. We collaborate also with
I can imagine that
many other kind of university in Italy, and not only in Italy, through some European projects, of course, but there are not only universities, there are also a lot of private research centers we collaborate strongly with, because we cannot do everything. So we also, part of our activity is also to manage some projects to work together with other structure. And we think that this is one win way to reach some results. As I said you before, to work in a team. That is, for us, very important, and to include in the team all expertise that can simplify and keep faster the possible results. That is possible. Is always a challenge, of course.
Yes, it is.
And to mainstream the results, well, in that way, as I said, we have a common and regular exchange with our members through regular meetings. We have some technical committee that we use to collect their needs on one side and to transfer knowledge achieved during some project activities on the other sides. So it's a common exchange, not only common exchange, but is a regular exchange, let's say, in this way, through different way. So seminars, meetings, field visits could be different according to the topics, to the goal, to the subject.
This is also in my mind. How do you manage all of the relationships within the organization? I mean, what is the strategy for your cooperation with the farmers? For example, if you provide some services like in-house, that sometimes you go to the specific farmer and he asks for some advices and he looks for your support like individual. So because you said that you exchange the information between the organization and you organize many events and use this kind of platforms. But I mean, are there any other options for your partners and also the farmers, which you can also propose beside the organized events?
Of course, well, there are many other tools that can be used, from social media to TV to newspaper to magazine. Many other tools can be used. But something that probably is helping our work in this transfer to the farmer is the fact that in our region, most of the farmers are members of cooperatives or association. So because our members are the cooperatives or association or organizations, we have as first, let's say, stakeholders in front of us, the advisors that can spread to their farmer some information, some knowledge, and so on. So I think that in our region where there is this cooperative systems, organizational systems, I mean, roughly 80% of the farmers are belonging one cooperative or organizations. This means that talking to the organization, you can indirectly reach, not specularly, let's say, but potentially a much wider numbers of farmers. Okay? So that is a facilitation, I think, for sure. That is not possible in other regions where there is not this kind of systems, and where probably is harder to make the transfer to the farmer directly. Nevertheless, everything can be improved, and a lot of job has to be done anyway.
But I think it's easier to improve things when they are in a higher level, because I mean you are not losing a lot if your improvement doesn't work for some moment. Yeah. So in carbon farming, of course, we try to also assess what is a carbon stock in the soil. And my question now is that via your organization, do you support farmers by collecting the samples, for example, and analyzing them, or maybe you have some contact to the companies which you cooperate with, that you can assess somehow what is the soil quality in the production system?
It's not our job to just supply this kind of services to the farmer. That is the job of the association. that suggest to the farmer to make the analysis related to the different reason why they want to analyze the soil. Apart from the law that oblige, and it is mandatory in Italy to have every 5 years, at least in the integrated production, one soil analysis. So that is already something that the farmer has to do. But that is not our job. We are a small, medium enterprise, and we are mostly involved in the experimentation and research, not on the common service, let's say. That.
But you cooperate with the association, yes?
But we cooperate with the association.
So if the farmer asks about some contact, you can easily provide the contact to the associations and support the farmer.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So when we think about the benefits for farmers in Emilia-Romagna, I would like to ask you what kind of benefits you think that the farmers can take from the practices introduced. I'm thinking about the soil health, productivity, or for example, maybe some input efficiency. When you see this practice which you described at the beginning, what kind of benefits you propose to farmers when you try to persuade them that some of the techniques, for example, like no tillage or reduced tillage, can be supported, and it's a kind of change of thinking also, and especially experienced farmers who we know from also Polish condition, is not easy to change the way of thinking.
It's always hard to change, to convince a farmer to change their habits, because I think that in general, excluding the exception, of course, farmers are quite conservative in their habits. But related to some carbon farming practices, no tillage, but even simply green manure covers, we found that they improved a lot the soil quality, soil health, soil biodiversity, but not only in the concept, but also in some practical way that they can also see quite easily after relatively short time after application. Like, for example, the capability of the soil to be more, to maintain longer the moisturing, for example. Or another point is how to work easily the soil when you use cover crops, or even more when you do the minimum tillage compared to the deeper tillage. So the benefit of these practices could be seen even in a relatively short time, because when you talk about carbon stock, is a quite farther concept for farmers, even because they don't realize what kind of benefit in the farm they can achieve by this. Exactly. Is a more, let's say, social, political, environmental issue than an agronomical issue.
Yeah, definitely. But for example, can you observe any economic profits from the practices which they introduce? Sometimes maybe they share, for example, that they can decrease the amount of the fertilizer, or for example, some processes are coming faster. So maybe you can observe any economic.
Yes, what we observed by the experience we collected and we carried out is that, for example, can be reduced the amount of chemical fertilizers when some practices are applied, or on the other hand, some reduction of consume of petrol. For example, when the farmer is making minimum tillage, they realized that they can go faster with the truck using less petrol because it's simpler to work the soil, apart from the fact that is shorter the work done, but is much speedier because the soil is softer, is better, and there is less soil erosion results also. But there are some other benefits that are not so easy to see, are not so immediate. But we have also to take in mind that there are also some side effects. There are also some requirement to apply some practices that could be a limitation for some farms, for example. And let's say that when you use the minimum tillage, is very important the timing of the working.
Definitely.
And not all farms can do it for different reasons. For instruments availability in some cases, or for possibility to organize the work in other one.
This I would like to ask also about sharing of the equipment here, because we know that, for example, to switch from the conventional tillage to reduced tillage, you need to change the machines, for example. Is in the cooperative this kind of practice that some of the farmers, they exchange the tractors, for example, or the machines, or is not very popular in the region?
There are some cooperatives that are exchanging machine for specific kind of activities, like harvesting in some seed company, for example. But for the tillage, that is something not used at all, and it would be even not very easy to be applied. Just to let you know, there are some very big farms that are...
When you say big, how many hectares you think about? More or less, of course.
Well, more than few hundreds or more than hundreds hectares. So that are business farms. And they are organized like an industry in a way. So they cannot manage the work according to the right timing of the moisturing of the soil to make the work. So how could be managed with the timing of some practices of the minimum tillage? So that is out of any possibility. Or on the other hand, small farms that ask to a third partner to make the working of the soil. That is quite common for some small, medium farmers. And in that case, the contractor that they ask for some worker on the soil are not always available exactly in the time when it would be better to make the work itself. So these are limitations that can reduce a lot some possibility for some kind of practices.
Okay, Maria, it was really great to have so many ideas from you and also to listen to you, but I would like to ask you at the end of our great conversation, in your view, why the regenerative farming, why the carbon farming practices can be important also for the future, and how the cooperative and how the unique form of cooperation in your region can support this concept.
I think that is an important concept that has to be improved, enhanced, and spread even in our region, because I think that we are at the beginning anyway. And thanks to the cooperative systems that we have, I wish that it will be a faster process, but that is a challenge as everywhere or in many other places. However, I think that the carbon farming meanings that I would translate more in soil quality improvement and soil quality health improvement is for sure one important objective of our next future activities. If this will means also to have carbon stock and maybe one possible, let's say, source of additional income by credit carbon, that would be something interesting we will see in future. But the most important message, in my opinion, is not just credit carbon, but soil improvement that can be achieved by the best practice of carbon farming and regenerative agriculture.
Maria, last question and last message. Why would you suggest the countries where the cooperatives are not strongly developed to organize the system for supporting the farmers via cooperatives? I am talking about the countries which are in the Central Eastern Europe, for example, where the communism was very strong in some moment of the history, and now it's not easy to cooperate with them. Why would you say in a few sentences that it's very important to invest and to cooperate in the agricultural sector?
Well, I think that our cooperative systems is not a political way to be considered the cooperatives, like it was probably in the past and in the Eastern Europe experience. So probably there is a completely different meaning beside and behind. I think that the cooperation in general that we have in our region is pay for the farmer, because it's a way to achieve services together. And together with services, one important point that is also helpful to improve carbon farming activities, practices, and so on, is to have an independent advisory systems. And that, I think, that is another important aspect that can help the improvement of carbon farming systems in general and of agriculture.
Thank you, Maria. It was really great to have a conversation with you. Today our guest was Maria Grazia Tommasini from Emilia-Romagna region, and it was a pleasure to have a talk with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.